Welcome into Coming Off the Edge, your friendly fantasy football show. Oh man, it's great to be here, guys. We're into week 3 already. Well, it's like the turning point of week 2 to week 3. We have had a decent sample size now of football. I can't wait for week 3. A lot of excitement, a lot of injuries, man. Quarterback. We're going to be talking about a little bit of wide receivers and week 2 reactions. So join with me, as always, here is Corey Spala. What's up, Corey?
Hello, everyone. What's poppin'? I'm happy to spend my Tuesday nights here with you guys.
Yeah, man. Every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, and join with us looking suave.
Look at that setup, dude.
Yeah, man. You're really building that.
You guys see that mic?
The decorations out in the back, man. You look like you
Tiger.
got the mic set up and everything like that. So Jeff Bell, for whom Jay Bell tolls, in the building. What's going on, Jeff?
Not much, man. I'm excited to be here, certainly through week 2. And like you said, we've got a sample size. We have a good idea of some situations that we are waiting to see on early reveals. And, we're starting to deal with some injuries and some moves off of that. So I'm exciting. It's still, the season is fresh. And even if you are 0-2, you still might have a chance, even though you probably don't. But, we'll keep trying.
Dude,
I'm 0-2 in a couple leagues, man. Don't say that.
It's rough, man.
Me and Chef were talking about it. Like, what did you say? What did you call them? Chainsaws?
Buzzsaws.
Like, you go up against the best teams. Like, even though you might be the second or third highest points, you just caught the 2 L's because you went against the 2 best. So you got the bad ones out the way. Now you got an easy schedule. So
yeah, I caught.
When should you panic?
0-4?
0-4.
0-4.
Panic.
Yeah. 1-4.
0-4, 1-4. That's when you're like trying to trade away some of your pieces to make sure that you can at least try to make a playoff run.
Oh
no, I'm saying redraft like total seasonal leagues. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be stuck with, if you're 0-4, man, you're in a tough spot there.
Yeah, historically, it kind of seems like that 7-6 or 8-5 is what you really need to get to in order to be in consideration for the playoffs. Usually, 9-4, you're certainly in most leagues if you're in a 13-week league. Now with week 18, it might be a little bit different, but it's kind of that 8-5 is your comfort zone that you're going to make the playoffs.
Ooh. This obviously we're 2 weeks in the season here. If you guys are commissioners, how are you handling that extra week? Like, do you start playoffs a week before? Is it the same kind of schedule?
I'm a commissioner in my home league.
Or not.
Sorry, Chef.
Sorry, man. No, I was going to say I'm a commissioner in my home league, and we just kind of glossed over it. So I think we're going with our schedule from last year, and maybe next year reevaluate.
I commissioned 2 leagues, and both of my leagues went to 14 weeks. Starting the playoffs in 15, 16, and 17. It's better off. You get an extra week of football, you get an extra week of fantasy, and you also get a little bit more money in the pot for those of you that play week to week. We have a losers pot. So usually they're about $10 to $20 a loss, which can be, pretty beneficial when it comes to winning money. So yeah, I'm happy with it. It's a little extra money in the pot, and why not?
That's fair. Are we at all concerned if a team clinches week 16, like week 17, 18, they may not play? Like Kelsey didn't start week 17 last year. I don't think Mahomes did either.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of that going on. I mean, there usually is year to year. I mean, that's one of those things that you have to prepare for. And in seasonal leagues, you have to trade accordingly or set your rosters. Like once you're going to be like 7-7, like Jeff said, or 8-5, or in this case, it's probably going to be like 9-5, which would cement you into the playoffs with a 14-week schedule. You're going to have to want to make sure your roster's playoff ready. You don't want to start doing that in week 14. You want to do that in like week 8 or 9. And look for the future. Yeah, that's how you win your leagues. You always stay ahead of the game and make the moves before everybody else does.
Yeah, let wisdom come here.
Well, I was going to say, like, eliminating that other bye, I think, kind of changes. Traditionally, that throws out a lot of – we saw it last year. So, I mean, Buffalo pulled guys in the second half. But other than that, teams pretty much played up until the end, except for Kansas City was comfortable. And whereas traditionally, it kind of felt like we have the core of the league just isn't playing like that last week. And so I think that last year it was much different. It was the first year that we saw that format.
All right, I have a follow-up question to all this. So, Chef, you mentioned, not trading at, up until week 14. Are you guys fans of having no trade deadlines?
No, I like the trade deadline. Shout out trade deadlines.
Go get the merch. I don't know, daddyshome.store.nv. I have no idea. Go check out Mike's page. He's got merch for hanging with daddy. You could get t-shirts, mugs, stickers, and I think there's a tank top in there.
Is there a sandwich? Can you buy a sandwich on there? I hope so.
Dude, Mike, you got to get one of those things. The Chef, what is it? You heat up and then you could like stamp your burger buns with
Panini.
Like,
I feel like
a brand.
You're missing
Daddy's
the
Home
obvious.
brand.
You need a tie-in with Jersey Mike's is what you need. There needs to be a link to Jersey Mike's, and you can order sandwiches.
Get the Daddy's Home Italian sandwich. Oh my God, dude. Hey, yeah, hit up Jersey. Do you have that out there by you? Do you guys have that?
What, Jersey Mike's?
Like Jersey Mike's,
I'm from Jersey,
Firehouse subs.
I don't Jersey.
I had a good one yesterday. I had a chicken bacon ranch. I had never had it before at Jersey Mike's, and it was delicious.
That's a classic, dude. I don't think I've ever had Jersey Mike's though.
It's really not as good as some actual sub shops in New Jersey.
Well, yeah, come on. Like it's a chain.
The thing of it is they have gluten-free bread, so that's.
Oh, they do.
So yes,
nice. Just like Culver's and Chick-fil-A have gluten-free breads.
So there are certain places that have a soft spot in my heart, and they are one of them.
I'm sorry, man. Anti-shout out celiacs.
So what were we talking about before that?
Trade deadlines.
Trade deadlines. Deadlines are great. Deadlines drive action. So that's the way I look at it. Deadlines drive action. You force somebody to commit. I just worry that if you got in the playoffs and it opens the door for some screwy things to go on. Of especially some of these leagues, like my home league. It's a handful of us that have played together, but then also as life happens, some people leave and then you end up with some buddies of buddies in there, and it's the type of thing of what's going on here? There were some interesting trades during the draft of some buddies of buddies during the rookie draft. We're pulling a couple deals that seemed a little bit interesting, but you want to give the benefit of the doubt, and maybe people are just bad. So, you go with that too.
And then on the dynasty side of things, that's the time when you really make your moves. If you're rebuilding, you could try to sell away some of your players, or pick up some rookies that, might have a bright future, get rid of some of your older guys to competing teams for that championship. That's like when it starts to build up. And I love that part of dynasty football. That's my favorite time of year is the trade deadline, really.
Wow. All right. So speaking of trade, let's just get a little wild with it, right? It's only week 2.
Let's go. Come off the edge.
If you're approaching the deadline, this is redraft, dynasty speaking. Let's say you're competing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who's someone you're going to want to target at the trade deadline? I know this is tough trying to think of someone. We're only week 2 in. A lot can change these next couple of weeks. It's only 2 games. Let's get a little wild with it. Let's get into our crystal balls here and think at the approaching trade deadline, who's going to be a good target for a contender to buy?
For a contender
everything's
to buy?
Relative to your league. So
I know.
That's a hard question, without seeing
whoever's
anybody's rosters.
Yeah. Whoever's on the bad team that needs to rebuild but I feel like there's those teams in every league that it's just especially dynasty, that people just aren't gonna, I don't know.
I mean,
people just don't pull the
think
trigger
about someone now, probably Derrick Henry.
Okay.
He's a guy that nobody really wanted to pick up in the offseason because they were afraid that he was going to start wear and tear. But, we saw him live in action this weekend, catching, I think you caught 8 passes.
6 or 7, I think.
Yeah, it's
8
just
targets,
crazy.
6 receptions.
Yeah, and he's just going to keep driving the force down in Tennessee. So I think that might be a guy that you might be able to get
dynasty
off of your team if you are not in compete mode. And yeah, for dynasty, definitely. And, that's a player that someone may pay for, giving up a first, maybe a little bit extra to get them over the hump to win their championship. And then, in my opinion, that's who I would say without looking at the team or anything. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, really, it's just those older running backs. But, if he's dropping 45 every week, you're going to be a contender with him on your roster.
Yeah. Well, to be determined, man, because I have him in one startup and I'm 0-2.
We shouldn't have said that live, bro.
Hey, man, it's okay, man. That's what happens.
Well,
like in
you
dynasty leagues, that's what
I don't lose, bro.
I
No.
lose.
I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
I'm gonna be
Corey.
honest. I lose all the time.
Exactly.
Like,
I was gonna
Did you
say,
beat me
Corey,
in the
I
recent
know. I think I'm in some leagues with you, Corey. Where you're
Did you
0-2.
beat me?
So
Corey, I beat you last week, didn't I? Like,
I don't lose, man. I
Yeah.
just because I
Shout out
I
goes to
learned from
goes.
my losses, so technically it's a win.
I am like I did count up my record. My record in Dynasty so far this year, knock on wood's pretty good. I think I'm like 24-8 or something like that. So
All right, dude. How many leagues are you in?
well, my home league,
24-8, 32.
17 and 11.
30. Oh no, 15 actually, because there's been 2 weeks, and there's one of them is we do the second win, so we do the median win, and so I'm in 15 dynasty leagues, and so
We were just talking about that.
Speaking of that,
Yeah, we were just talking about
quote
that.
me, baby. Shout out TJ Luke.
I'm 4-0 in my orphan dynasty league. Shout out DHH Patreon. I picked this up. Probably someone rage quit right after the rookie draft because they were a crybaby and didn't pick up Trey Lance.
Name 'em.
I don't know who it is, thank God. And just a Patreon, shout out to the supporters. Appreciate you.
Patreon.com/Dynasty Happy Hour.
Yeah.
that it? I
But,
have no idea.
he rage quit. He has a really, really good team. Christian McCaffrey. There's a bunch of people on there, but it's a what is it?
Come on, get to it.
Oh, it's not a Devi league. It's an IDP league.
There you go. Okay.
And
Roquan Smith.
just went bananas this
I have
week.
him in
Scored
my
me
IDP
like
league.
36 points. I'm like, let's go, man. These linemen, these defensive linemen and the linebackers, dude, they tear it up in IDP. I have Jeremy Chin. He started going off.
Shout out ISU.
These guys are just monsters.
That's how you.
And I am 4-0, and like I'm in second place in this whole league where I just adopted a team. I'm like, all right, man, I guess I'm going for it all right now. I picked up Elijah Mitchell, spent all my fab on Elijah Mitchell, immediately put him on the block. No one wants to buy him, but that may change this week.
Chef,
Dude,
what I'm
he's like-
hearing here is that if we just draft for you, you'd be much better at fantasy football.
Yeah,
Well,
pretty much.
Me for sure.
Hey, I'm 2-0 in some other leagues too, man. Don't get it wrong. Don't get it twisted.
I
No,
do
but I love the median. I love the median win, and I got a tweet last night about it. Like it's because I was in my home league. We do it, and I had DeAndre Swift, and I needed him to clear like 8 points or something like that, so I could comfortably get the second win. I had won my other matchup heads up, and I sent the tweet, and like all these people are on this like, oh well, that's just a poor loser. That's just like that's just the breaks, and it's like no, you don't even understand the level that it adds to the league. As you're watching Monday Night Football, a touchdown pass at the last minute might swing 3 wins versus just the standard 1, and so it's just great to add that second level onto it.
Right, and even if you're losing your matchup to your contender, you could still break that median and get a little bump up. Like I know after week 1, some teams were 1-1 because they scored well, like we talked about earlier, Corey. They score really well, but then you lose, and you're like, you know what, man, that's kind of stinky because my team is really, really good. It's just I can't seem to beat the number 1 team on a certain week. Shout out Justin.
Shout out Justin. I'm happy you're here.
Man. So I'm enjoying it. It's actually my first experience with it, and I like it, man. It's fun.
Shout out Sam.
Shout out Swag, man.
Yeah.
All right, Sam. Let's go. It was new to me last year too. We put it in our home league, and it's better. It's
a lot of fun. I like it, and the fact that it's only week 2 and I'm 4-0 in this league, it's just like, yeah, let's go. Give me all the points. Give me all I'm loving my first IDP experience because of this median win and this monsters team that I adopted. Shout out DHH Patreon.
Shout out DHH Patreon. Shout out IDP. Dude, shout out to just an absolute yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Do this trade. Yes. You should.
I mean, honestly, I was surprised.
Rojo for Jamar Chase. I would do that.
I was surprised. Is that dynasty redraft? Does it even matter?
I don't care.
I think it's redraft. He played.
Doesn't even matter.
Redraft. Shout out Justin.
I was surprised to see Tyson get that work, but like obviously maybe one more. Like we'll see this third week. The coach Harbaugh came out and said, or I don't know who it was, offensive coordinator. It's not just the one running back system anymore in these days. But Tyson, what do you have? 20 touches ish. 17 carries, couple of receptions. Like, do you expect that moving forward? Murray has back-to-back touchdown games, like 6 to 10 carries. Nothing impressive, but I mean, if he's just getting those 2-yard carries, doing his job, that's all that matters.
I'm going to admit something here right now. So
Tyson Williams had 13 carries for 77 yards.
I thought he had 17 carries. My bad.
Yeah, no.
I've missed one game this year, and
15
it was
total
Chiefs
touches
and Ravens game.
Shout out. Let's plug the show, Chef. What time for tomorrow's show?
It's either 12 or 1 o'clock.
Tune in. Is that Eastern?
Yeah, Eastern Standard.
12 or 1 o'clock Eastern.
Shout out, the tilt is real.
Follow.
It may be 1 o'clock, man. Chef is tired, dude. The kid is kicking the crap out of me.
Yo,
Chef.
If you notice, we were on a little bit late, and that's because the logistics have changed in my house. First,
how are the new
babies?
Putting
down the baby's fantastic.
The baby's good, Chef. Yours is a little older, new baby.
A little bit older, new baby. 4-month-old. He is weighing in like a toddler already. We weighed him today. He weighs 17 pounds. I think he's going to be a lineman, dude, or a tight end or something like that, man. This kid is just giant. I can't believe how fast he grew. He was 15 pounds 2 weeks ago, man. He's just picking up weight. He's so chunky. He's talking, not saying complete words, but talking.
Yeah, he's 4 months, dude.
Yeah, and I think he's starting to teeth a little bit. So we're giving him like peaches and stuff like that. I got a cute video. I'll send it in the chat.
Yeah, do that. I want to see that shit. I'm happy for you.
Pretty awesome.
Shout out to Jeff too. Girl Dead for life. Guys, whenever I have my first kid, do you think it's gonna be a boy or a girl?
Boy.
Okay, thank you.
Girl. I'll just go girl.
Okay. Are you gonna call him Chef? Name him Chef.
I heard that's a boy and girl name, so yes.
El Jefe.
Girl chefs.
Girl chefs. Okay, so now let's wrap this back to fantasy football. If we're talking about babies,
yeah.
How do we wrap it around babies? Let's
talk about some Rondale Moore. You want to talk about a rookie?
Talk about rookies. Talk about Elijah Moore, Rondale Moore, Terrace Marshall, Diami Brown, Kadarius Toney. Is he playing?
Yeah, he played, but he didn't see any action. Same with Diami Brown. Like Diami Brown didn't really see anything either in week 2.
But they're seeing the targets, but not the box scores. Toney seeing targets?
Not this past week, no. And I don't think he will now because Evan Ingram's coming back.
And shout out to Sterling Shepard. Okay, but rookies. Rondale Moore leads the Cardinals in targets. Did anyone expect that? I mean, I think he has 13, and then AJ Green and Hopkins have 12. So
I did not expect to lead in targets, but I had bought him all over the place because
good manufactured touches.
Yes, exactly. And we didn't really see it week 1, but Christian Kirk went off a little bit week 1, but certainly what we saw this week was how I expected the Cardinals to use Rondale Moore, almost as extension of the run game, manufactured touches, get in the ball in space and let him do work. And that's why I never understood it. The people that were all upset about him being a wide receiver at 5'8", it just seemed like you not conceptually understand what they're going to ask this guy to do. They're going to ask him to be a football player in space, get the ball out, extension of the run game, and that's what they did.
He's more of a satellite back than a wide receiver, which is perfectly fine in this day and age, especially in an air raid offense like Arizona, where, Kyler Murray can scramble out of the pocket, play a little backyard ball and just get it out in space, like Jeff just said. And it just makes so much sense. You don't have DeAndre Hopkins that has to worry about playing from the slot. You can interchange Christian Kirk and Rondale Moore in that slot, trick up defenses. And AJ Green even came alive this week. That's why we saw DeAndre Hopkins' target share go down, because they were scoring points. Even Max Williams had he went 7 for 7 with like 80 yards or something like that. I mean, Max Williams was on my waiver wire sheet this morning. Like, he is going to be a factor in that offense. And I think all pass catchers are, with the exception of maybe the running backs, because, they're not doing so well because they have all these great receivers around them that are actually capable of catching balls.
So I'm going to throw it in the Wayback Machine. And Cliff Kingsbury was a quarterback for Texas Tech, and he had a NFL wide receiver on his team. And do you know who that was?
Andre Johnson.
Wes Welker. So he had Wes Welker on his team. And if you watch the way that Texas Tech used Wes Welker when Cliff Kingsbury was quarterback, they used him almost exactly like how the Cardinals used Rondale Moore. They had him taking carries out of the backfield. They had him getting manufactured touches. They had him in the return game. They used Wes Welker every possible way that you could in college. And that was Cliff Kingsbury's safety blanket. And so I think that's what he wanted to do as a coach. Get him that guy that was basically his Wes Welker in college when he was a quarterback. on the NFL roster. And, being the NFL, you needed a little bit better athlete than to ask to do all those different things. Wes Welker certainly was very successful at doing Wes Welker things, being a slot receiver at the NFL level. But to get to those manufactured touches, use them out of the backfield. And that's what we're seeing with Ron.
Yeah.
Do you think Cliff Kingsbury's jealous of Kyler Murray for being a better quarterback?
I think Cliff Kingsbury does
He's got a good house.
DGAF.
He got a good house, dude. Shout that war room. But
I had to make Jeff laugh after that.
Cliff Kingsbury is living his best life right now.
I'm sure he is, man. He's sitting there. They're 2-0.
Yes.
They look like the strong force in the NFC West. I'll tell you, man. I think they could beat the 49ers. I think they could beat Seattle. I'm rooting for them to win.
They win for sure.
But they're giving up a lot of points on defense as well, which is kind of trouble.
So to go to baseball, I thought the Cardinals were like the Adam Dunn of NFL football teams, where if you're familiar with Adam Dunn, he's either going to crank a home run or strike out, and that is the Cardinals. They have these superstars all over the place, and they're either going to make big plays or they are going to strike out. It just feels like that's how their roster is built.
Yeah,
how the Cardinals?
I mean, that's how anybody is built. Like San Francisco, we can move over a little bit in the NFC West and focus on what's going on with George Kittle. Like Deebo Samuel's getting the targets, the running backs are getting the targets. Kittle is falling from a cliff. And I learned my lesson last year on Kittle, taking him a little early in Scott Fishbowl. Like, I am never doing that again. I do not trust George Kittle. You burned me with an injury, but it was more of a target thing than an injury thing, in my opinion. And it was a little scary. And people are starting to realize that, the tight end ones that you're looking for in fantasy football are the guys that don't have good wide receivers around them or limited other receiving options in general. We look at Waller with the Raiders. He didn't even get that many targets this week because of Renfro, Edwards, Ruggs finally had a game. These are all situations. I mean, we're targeting Waller, Kelsey, Hawkinson is going to have a career year this season because he has Amon-Ra St. Brown and Quentin Cephas catching the ball. I mean, shout out Quintez Cephas because he's doing his thing. He's getting the targets. Amon-Ra St. Brown, a little rough around the edges still. Needs to work on his focus, I think, a little bit. A couple balls hit his hands that he dropped. But I think that these teams that you're focusing on during your drafts, man, you got to focus on the tight ends that don't have those targets around them. And that's how you win your fantasy league.
But what about Cole Kmet?
He's got Allen Robinson. He's got Darnell Mooney. He's got David Montgomery.
Cole Kmet.
I don't know. Shout out Cole Kmet. That's how cool you shout Cooter.
Throw out random people.
The only exception to that rule is Rob Gronkowski right now, because Rob Gronkowski has a mountain of talent around him in Mike Evans, Chris Godwin in AB, and Leonard Fournette in the backfield, but he's with his boy Tom Brady, who is comfortable utilizing the tight end. It just seems like they've built that package for success. And I think it may continue until one of them wear down. I think Rob Gronkowski would wear down first in that scenario.
Do you think that Rob Gronkowski is currently a top 5 redraft tight end?
Currently, like
Waller, Kelsey, Hawkinson,
yes.
Logan Thomas, Gronk.
Yeah, I'd have to put him in that conversation with those. I think he bumps Mark Andrews out of there. Yeah, definitely, he's over Mark Andrews in my book.
Oh, Mark Andrews.
I have him in the top 5 in my rankings. Kelsey, Hawkinson,
top 5. Why not? He's tight end.
I have him over Kittle right now. Like he's getting the work.
There's Kittle.
As long as he continues to work and I think it might have something to do with the matchups as well, which is something that I'm going to have to look a little bit deeper into to see a little bit further down their schedule. But if he keeps competing the way he is and getting separation and catching the receptions, the passes that come his way, man, there's no reason why he can't be in the top tight end 5 conversation.
I'm saying, I faded Kittle all pre-draft, and I have Gronk. I got in 15th, 16th round in Scott Fishbowl, so I've got Darren Waller and Gronk on my roster. So, yes, it was an absolute steal. Unfortunately, Darrell Henderson got hurt, and my running back situation is bad.
He's got a little cartilage thing going on there. Who else had that last year? Somebody else had that. I can't remember who. It seems like, didn't Matthew Stafford have that? last year with the
Stephanie
cartilage.
Bell, man. Let's get her on the show.
So if you're somebody that you've drafted George Kittle and you're probably a little bit panicked, I think that would be a pivot potentially of like the person might be thinking they're getting an elite tight end if you get Gronk, and then plus to move off of Kittle might be a potentially season changing, because I'm all in on Gronk.
Before
I think that Gronk looks like Gronk, and I think Brady trusts him. I think he's going to be his red zone target.
Shout out CBD.
He looks completely different than he looked
CBD
last year, because you could tell he was rounding into shape, and especially during the playoffs, he kind of got there, and then it just seemed like he's just a different guy now.
He's back to full form.
He's happy.
It's the Florida sunshine, man. You could tell. Last year he was a little underweight. He took the season and like he started to come alive in the later half of the season, and now after a full year of practice and training with Tom Brady, I'm right there with you, Jeff, man. I can't complain about Gronk. I'm just a little upset that I don't have him as many leagues as I would in redraft. I went the Jonnu Smith route because Gronk was still a popular name and people know that name. So, but the Jonnu Smith thing, hopefully he gets healthier and can start producing a little bit more. Yeah, he's dealing with some injury.
He's been nicked for the last month or so, and so I'm still believing in Jonnu Smith. But yes, it's not where I was hoping it would see. Mac Jones is just not throwing the ball down the field at all. I saw his passing chart, and like he had like 2 attempts over 20 yards, like 6 on the season. There's just nothing vertical whatsoever. But I do think that Jonnu, if he gets healthy, they're going to use him. They've already been using him on reverses and things like that, using him out of the backfield a little bit too. And it's just, I don't know. I'm worried I like having Damian Harris, but he's not getting any receptions. And so it's just one of those that he scored.
That's the New England backfield. That's the New England backfield. You never know what's going to happen. Like if Damian Harris doesn't get into the end zone, he's not going to be a fantasy producer for you. I mean, yeah, he'll have 13 to 15 carries and 70 yards, but all you're getting is like 7.6 points because he's not catching the ball and he's not falling into the end zone. Those good days when he does fall into the end zone, you're happy with him because, you got him pretty late in the 7th, 8th round of redrafts. And okay, great. But, what happens when Ramondre Stevenson starts to get healthy? What happens when JJ Taylor starts taking a little bit more rep? Those are the kind of things that I worry about. We got a trade in the chat right here. I want to show it to you because this is exciting. I like this. So CJ Luke 26, shout out
CJ.
Superflex trade Tannehill, Jonathan Taylor, Evan Ingram for Pitts, Swift 2022 second, 2022 third.
So Pitts and Swift
and the picks.
Pitts and Swift got to be better than Taylor and Ingram, right?
Well, yes, in aggregate. I don't know if it gets there. It's I think it's
close,
but
is this PPR?
Like I'd prefer those seconds. I'd rather have one of those be a first than
what about a 2023 first and a
that would do it for me.
If one of them were a first instead of 2 seconds, it just feels like I'm very hesitant to move off of a quarterback, especially right now. I feel like Tannehill is a little bit of a buy low and a sell low right now. I don't know. I'd have to believe that they struggled. They struggled with pass protection week 1, clearly. And it seemed like week 2, even like it's just so funny because you watch Tannehill play and it's like he's just like shocked that the other team can hit him in the pocket. It seems like he's like, wait, no, guys, like this is not how it goes. But we did see. I think I saw
a new offensive coordinator.
Yeah, well, in week 1 they used like 11% of play action, and then week 2 it was 30% of play action. And so if you got Derrick Henry, you've got to be running play action off that. And I think they're going to settle in. I was shocked. Chester Rogers on week 1 got like 8 or 9 targets, and it's just this offense. They should be like Minnesota last year, where everything is going through the 2 wide receivers and Derrick Henry, because those wide receivers are just so good. Except for when AJ Brown right now looks like he should be playing safety because the dude can't catch. I don't even know what happened there this past weekend. I'm going to say that I'm bitter because I have AJ Brown and Tannehill in the SFB. I lost by 12, and there were just so many drops out there that would, hitting the stack. There was a late touchdown potentially that he just missed on, and there's very, very frustrating. to have somebody that's sitting on that stack. And then on the other side, I'm sitting on Russell Wilson and DK Metcalf stack 2 on that team. And then they go to overtime and I lose points because it's just incompletions and sacks the entire time until they should have lost the game on a safety, but until they finally just had bad field position.
So this trade though.
Yeah, I would want a 2023 first.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to give up, like Jeff said, a quarterback, Jonathan Taylor. Like you can nix Evan Ingram out of the conversation. It's really Tannehill and Jonathan Taylor. Evan Ingram's not really valuable anymore
Dynasty?
for Dynasty. Yeah, no, for Dynasty, no, he's not really valuable anymore. He's been banged
not.
up, nicked up. He hasn't
That's
been producing.
fair, but what if he revives his career?
I just want to know the quarterback situation. I mean, if your quarterback situation is fine, like I'd probably do this deal.
What if he has like
I think Pitts and Swift alone could be game changing for your dynasty team.
Pitts and Swift are greater than Taylor and Ingram. It comes down if you want the seconds.
I think that Swift is closer to Taylor than people are willing to admit to themselves.
Absolutely, especially in the passing game, in the receiving game rather.
If you're in full PPR, I think that Swift is much closer to Taylor than people are willing to admit.
Absolutely. So it just comes down if you want to trade Tannehill for 2 seconds, basically.
Well, you're getting Pitts though too.
Well, no, yeah. But he'd be getting Pitts, Goff, Mac.
No, I mean, if you're looking
Jones,
at Taylor and Ingram,
Jones,
Pitts and
Mac,
in the entire Houston QB room. Oh man, Davis Mills. Shout out Davis Mills.
Oh, that's a bogus
the other person. Now having that context, like I'd rather be selling Mac Jones and Jonathan Taylor in that deal.
No. He has Taylor and Tannehill and Mac Jones.
And God.
I know, and that's where I would put Mac Jones in the deal and pull out the seconds coming from the other way. And
so keep Tannehill.
I'd keep Tannehill personally.
Keep Tannehill, trade Mac Jones.
I mean, people are different, have opinion on me. I just don't see. I just think Mac Jones is a guy
or
that
jump
is
on
going
the
to
hype.
be.
On the hype of Goff real fast because everybody's circling around him, looking in like he's revigorated in Detroit, and see if you can get a first out of the deal.
People really value Jared Goff is my question of like because I don't think
shouldn't.
Not really. Do they really value Mac Jones? I mean, they're about even
should.
at this point.
Well, you guys in the chat, I said that Jared Goff is going to be the next Ryan Fitzpatrick, where it feels like for the next 10 years we're just completely writing him off, but somehow he ends up a starting quarterback every single year, and he ends up a top 24 super flex quarterback every year, even though we're convinced that he's going to be completely done.
He's terrible. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's just he just finds his way. Like he's going to be one of those guys that he just finds a way to get it done. But I'm not sold long term on Mac Jones. I think it's a good time that it's just what are we doing? What's the ceiling, especially in this New England offense of what we've seen? Like, if you really think that Mac Jones is going to be Tom Brady, God bless you and good luck with that. But when it comes to fantasy, because the other thing that you need to realize, and Brady now is different than kind of what we saw for most of Brady's career, except for that 1 year when it comes to fantasy. The ceiling with these young quarterbacks, these running quarterbacks, is just so much higher when it comes to quarterbacks now. And so you're not in that situation where, you're getting by with Derek Carr and Kirk Cousins as your quarterbacks when you're going into a matchup that somebody's got Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts and they drop 40 points each on you. And all of a sudden you've got a 80-point deficit you're dealing with just out of the quarterback position.
Wow, did that happen to you too? Sounds like you're crying a little bit.
No, because the J Bell Gambit, I'm the one that has the good quarterbacks on my team.
Speaking of quarterbacks in the J Bell Gambit, man, tell me a little bit about Josh Allen. Should people start panicking for fantasy about Josh Allen? And you're shaking your head yes, and that's not a good sign. 'Cause I picked up Josh Allen everywhere this season. Come on, man.
I'm there. Coming out of week 1, I was not nervous because you looked at the Pittsburgh game. Pittsburgh pressured him more than any team did at all last year. And his throws didn't look that bad. Like, he didn't have bad throws compared to some of his games last year. Had some drops week 1. Week 2, being Miami, they won 35-0. They really leaned on the running game. It just has not clicked yet. And being a Bills fan, I'm just concerned because, one, if you look at his last handful of games, and I saw a terrifying stat where they compared Mitch Trubisky's last 7 games and Josh Allen's last 7 games, and Mitch has been better statistically. Ooh. And so that was very scary. Like, Josh over his last 5, 6, 7 games, whatever it is a 60% completion passer. It's not buzzing like it was towards the middle of end of last year. And so that is concerning. It just feels like there's too much of old Josh where the game is moving too fast. And I think maybe there's a question that defenses have adjusted a little bit, and he's just kind of struggling with that a little bit mentally because he is the type of guy that things get going too fast and, mentally. But I have faith that he's young enough and he's so talented that he's going to figure it out. What are you doing to me, Corey?
Nate's here. Yeah, sorry. I was so
what's
excited.
up, Nate? In Mexico. What's up,
Sorry,
Nate?
sorry, Jeff. Cut that off. I got so excited.
Damn, I pulled up the Bills schedule. I was just about to post it and see if you could get
that
better.
Conversation, everyone. Nate is here in Mexico.
Hola.
I am in Mexico. I am making dinner. I'm making
nice.
Denver Mexican chicken.
No,
are you making Denver Mexican chicken?
We already have the Mexican chicken. I'm making some
Mexican Denver chicken.
tostadas.
Wow.
Oh,
okay.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Like that, dude. Come on.
Yeah. How are you guys doing tonight, man?
We're good.
Oh,
I think that you heard me talk about Mac Jones.
We're talking about Josh Allen. Josh Allen, go.
I don't think there's anything to worry about. He's going to be just fine. He's Josh Allen.
1 out of 7 years, he's been good, huh?
Oh,
he's always been good for
7 years.
I'm just talking shit. I have no idea.
Oh, I know. It's what you do.
That's nice. How's Mexico? Oh, my bad.
It's great. Today is the first day we haven't had like a downpour of rain, which has been nice. So we got to kind of hang out and chill on the beach for most of the afternoon.
Hey,
yeah, what's up?
How's that mermaid doing?
Oh, still creepy, dude.
There's a mermaid.
It's so creepy.
Is it there? Is it turned around still?
We are actually not in our condo. Jen's mother, Kelly, is staying in the same complex, and we are down at her condo, and I'm making dinner for everybody.
Dang,
it looks pretty up to date down there, man. That looks like you got a nice little spot going on.
This condo is awesome. It's better than ours by far. Much bigger balcony, a little bit lower, closer to the ocean, nicer amenities. So, yeah, man, we're having fun, just living life.
Shout out jealousy, man, because I am jealous right now. I mean, yeah, it's nice and beautiful in Jersey, but man, I'd rather be in Mexico.
Yeah, we got Jersey Mikes out here.
60-degree rainy day. It felt like fall here.
It's raining right now for me too. In Michigan.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, Jen had a little bout with food poisoning right after we got here that she's still.
You had that the first time. What's up with you guys?
It's called Montezuma's Revenge, man.
Stop drinking that water.
There.
So, funny story. The water here is actually cleaner than most cities in the United States in Puerto Vallarta.
What they tell you.
They have an award-winning water filtration system. So that's not the issue. We don't know what it is, but
you're cooking.
It's good.
Don't eat the tostadas.
Oh, no, dude.
Don't eat the Mexican Denver chicken.
That chicken was actually oddly.
It's Mexican Denver chicken when you're in Mexico, but when you're in Denver, it's Denver Mexican.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Well, if I can ever get it right, I keep trying, and I get like halfway there, but it's just not the same.
Can you buy the
seasonings? That's what it is.
No.
Denver seasonings.
Ask them.
They're not authentic Mexican seasonings.
No,
they're
from
authentic
the
Denver seasoning.
No, that's what I'm saying. No.
You should just go to the place. Be like, yo, can I buy your seasoning? Can I buy a pound of it?
Yeah, I'll pay double
on the plane, but
they're not that nice, man. They're not. Get your
nice.
chicken, get your potatoes, and get the F out of here.
Okay.
No soup for you.
Hey, it's all business out there. I respect it.
Yeah, Papa's Gordo's way.
That's right. Nice. Well, guys, it was great to pop in and say, hey, Jeff, Corey, Chef, miss you guys.
Good to see you too, brother.
I will try and pop in next week. It's the day before we fly home, so I don't know how that's going to work out, but I'll give it a whirl and try and say, hey.
It's all good, man. I appreciate your time here.
Yeah, guys. Love you guys, and I will we'll talk later.
Yeah, man. Sounds good.
Enjoy your tostadas.
Adios.
Dude, that's so awesome, man. Sorry, Jeff, to you going on your rant there, but I got so happy to see him backstage.
Good. Yeah. No, I'm a little bit concerned. But
to finish it.
And I already dropped the share screen, so screw it.
I'm a little bit concerned about Josh Allen.
I mean, wait a second, real fast here, real fast, because I'm making a good point here when I'm doing this. So let's share it real fast.
That's great, dude. It was great to see Nate, man, dude, making to stop. It looked like he had beans on that bad boy. What is this?
So this is the Bills schedule coming up. They're playing Washington this week, and then They go on to play the Texans,
Easy
which
game.
they should win.
Hopefully.
The Chiefs, which they'll go back and forth, and it will be a shootout for fantasy purposes. Titans should be a shootout. Dolphins, that one scares me a little bit because their defense has been playing really good, especially the front.
Well, they just scored 35 on them. So I
mean, Jaguars roll over.
Shout out Urban.
Shout out Urban.
shout out.
Get him out of there, dude.
Get him out. The Jets, easy win.
Free
Colts,
Lawrence.
they should win that. Saints, they can beat the Saints.
They could.
I think I think the Patriots
beat the Saints.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
be
the only one on this
night.
screen that really gives them a problem is the Buccaneers.
Panthers?
Maybe the
Titans,
Panthers.
The Titans always play them. If you look at the top teams, it's so surprising to me that the Ravens
Falcons
won, because if you look at the top teams in the AFC, it's like they're built to beat each other, but then they have weaknesses exposed against other teams. It's like the Bills are built to beat the Ravens, and while they had been built to beat the Steelers, except for I don't know what happened the second half of week 1. But then when they play the Titans, it seems like they can't handle Derrick Henry. They can't handle the physicality of the team. And so it's one of those, it's like boxing. It's like fighters where, like the Chiefs traditionally had been built to beat the Ravens, and then the Ravens finally cracked through. And so maybe we're just in the upside down so far this year. But it does kind of seem like when you look at the very tippy top teams of the AFC that they're kind of different styles that are built to beat each other.
Maybe it is something like a gel or something like that needs to come together a little bit later in the season. And I think they could do that, starting in October against the Texans. They'll be able to take over a little bit, start building, get a healthy team. Zach Moss was not healthy at all in week 1. He was out. Devin Singletary had to carry the load. And I'm sure that has a little bit to do with it. They were preparing all training camp, all preseason to run this offense. And if you don't have all the weapons that you want, it's not going to happen as much as you'd want it to. Who's the veteran receiver there? Not
where
Emmanuel Sanders. Yeah, he was banged up. We saw Gabriel Davis not even get a target this past week. So there's things that are happening, and I think that it'll all come together like it did last year, just not as fast as we all hoped. And I think the fantasy points are still going to come, and you'll have a safe floor with Josh Allen every week. He may not be your number 1 QB1, but he will be in the realm of possibilities. So
my concern is that the amount of distractions that have been around the team in the offseason. So, we haven't been hearing about what they're doing using personnel-wise in camp or anything. We've been hearing about vaccinations and other things.
Corey, you have an echo. Who has the echo?
It was Corey.
It was Corey.
Always Corey doesn't have headphones on. So
it's Corey.
Yeah. Corey. No, but that's my concern is that it just seems like one of those teams that they felt like they arrived last year, and then they maybe, we kind of see that occasionally where a team will take a big step forward, think that they've arrived and have a bumpy year, and kind of realize that, okay, we need to refocus. And so, and I feel like the Browns maybe were a little bit of that 2 years ago where all this talent is here and we're ready for the Browns to take off, and then the Browns are not taking off. And so I just worry that the Bills might be in that position where maybe they got a little bit ahead of themselves, and so they need to wake up.
It's just a big hype piece. Everybody was boosting the Bills and boosting Josh Allen after that crazy quarterback year, and I hate hearing myself echo, but yeah, that's the
so
end
distracting.
Of that. Yeah, dude, it's terrible. Oh man, we really do have fun on this show.
You gotta send Corey some headphones or something out here.
Dude, Corey, he has headphones. He's messing around. Dude, he's trying to be out here as a professional, and get your headphones on, dude. And just stop messing around. Why don't we pull up that draft board and get into some drafts, dude? We're in the final quarter of our show for the evening. And what are we drafting today? Does anybody even know?
Well, we had talked about doing football uniforms. I don't know.
Oh, that's cute.
I don't know.
I'm down for uniforms. What was the other thing, Corey? You can come off of mute for a second. He just has round 1, 2, 3, 4.
Is it echoing, bro?
Yeah.
Well, I don't want. What do you want me to do?
Lower your speaker. I don't know. Put some headphones on, like a normal podcaster. Jesus. Amateurs.
This is dead air, and that's not.
You know,
good.
no. You know what's funny about this, and I'll take this up while he's there. You know, I brought Corey on as his first live show, and he was so nervous. It was one of these shows that we did for. I'm so sorry. It was one of these live shows that we did last year. I think it was the Dynasty stock market for Join Our Circle. Shout out Fantasy Intervention. And Corey was just so nervous. He's like, wow, that was my first show. I've never done this before. And I was like, are you serious? You were great. He's like, yeah, you know, you guys are really inspiring. Shout out to Juan, FF One of a Kind. You know, he was there as well. And he's just going to write beep, bop, boop. He's on the screen. Corey, you can join on the screen. Just keep your mic muted. Like, I don't know what's going on, dude. But let's do this draft, Corey. Can we get through this draft? I have a meeting in like 4 minutes.
So my question is, are we drafting their normal uniform sets, or are we drafting specific uniform? Like,
let's do specific unis, because that's a lot better than just regular home uniforms.
Okay. So I have the first pick in this.
Apparently.
I'm going to go with the Chargers, the baby powder blue. So that's
very nice. Very nice. And I will follow that up with the Seahawks neon green. Love that loud green color. Corey, beep bop boop bop bop bop. He doesn't know. He doesn't have a favorite team. You know, he's not a homer at all.
Corey's never seen football, so he doesn't know what these teams actually look like.
Why don't you go with the Steelers? Black. That's a good one. Ooh, I like that actually. Very nice. Very nice. And you're gonna double back. He's got the Chicago Bears orange, and then Bengals white. Bengals color rush white. Very nice. That's a good one. Man, that puts me on the spot. I'm liking the new Los Angeles Rams, the LA Rams white jerseys with the blue, with the royal blue. I like that a lot. I'm gonna take that one.
So my next pick, I'm gonna grab the creamsicles from the Buccaneers.
Oh, very nice.
Bucko Bruce creamsicle. And then my other one, I'm going to give a little shout out here to CJ. I'll go with the Ravens all black.
And I'm stuck in the middle here, and I'm not a fan of this team, but I am a fan of the jersey, the Kelly Green Eagles jersey. The old school Kelly Green, the throwback is one of my favorites as well. Corey, beep bop boop.
Houston Oilers is a good one. Yes, shout out.
Is that not around anymore though? Like, does anybody?
Well, I think that the Titans do throwbacks with the Oiler jerseys. Occasionally.
Fair enough.
Maybe I'm making that up, but
yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
You know, Corey's backstage Googling all this shit right now. Excuse my language. It's in Madden.
That's right. That's what Corey knows, because Corey knows from Madden. So there we go.
Oh gosh, Corey.
I feel like, why didn't the Texans become the Oilers? I feel like they should just been the Houston Oilers. Wouldn't everybody be a little bit happier if the Houston Texans were actually the Houston Oilers and they just brought everything back?
I don't know, man. I think they were doing something to save the earth, like go green. That would have probably been, contradiction to
like we're
humanity.
Still drilling for oil. Like, it's not like we've stopped drilling.
Yeah, but they just
oil.
Didn't want to principle it. That's it.
Well, I mean, I feel like it's still a big part of the economy. Like, I think that like maybe
want to be
switch a little bit more to service, but like I just feel like Houston bring it back. Like, Houston Texans, if you are real and you're watching, then I would bring it back. Wait till you get a quarterback.
I don't know. Like, let's just go with Pittsburgh. Okay, all right.
Anything but the Bumblebee.
Yeah. Let me go with. Oh my God, the Bumblebee was terrible. Let me go with the Dolphins orange. I like the Dolphins orange. That's a good one.
Man.
And Jeff is gonna wrap it up. Man.
I just think the classic Raiders. I just like the Raiders jersey. I feel like the Raiders have done a good job of not busying up their jersey. So
Jeff always wins these, man. I like the creamsicle Tampa Bay one. That's an awesome one. and the powder blue is probably one of my favorites. So yeah, Jeff probably won this. The Seahawks neon green is pretty cool though. I like that. Corey, you gonna come back on and talk or no? I mean,
Is that echoing still?
Probably.
I don't know. Maybe.
Can you hear me?
It's not. Yeah, it's not echoing.
Oh, dude,
went
I
away.
didn't know what jersey. I was trying to go through the Rolodex of the Madden there. I do like the Pittsburgh just black. It's classic, but I feel like Jeff dominated this.
Yeah, pretty
Okay,
much.
good.
He like knew when he was setting us up with the uniform. So, maybe next week.
Usually if Jeff has an idea for a draft, Jeff has an idea for a draft.
What do you think
so-
next week should be?
I don't know.